good evening, everybody, and welcome to the dialogue with Lady Raj. Tonight, I'm so grateful that you've joined, and we're going to have a very interesting time here. I want to hear everybody speak, so I've sent you all invitations to be speakers. I would really appreciate it if you could accept my invitation. Thank you very much. Okay, so tonight we are talking about matchmaking and choosing your choice. Okay, so the reason I brought this up is because I noticed that our parents and our grandparents got married, um, stayed married for a long time, and they were fine. And I noticed that the younger ones, our generation, get married, and in 2 years, in 10 years, in 7 years, some even in their first year are already contemplating divorce or have already divorced. And I was wondering, given that, oh, forgive me. Let us say a prayer. Thank you very much. Father, we thank you for tonight. We ask that you help us, Lord. You teach us all we need to know, and you help us to leave here better than we came here. In Jesus' name, amen. You can drop some amen in the chat box. Let me know that you are with me. And please do not forget to share the link. Share the link with your friends, with your family. Tell everybody coming here. They should come and give their thoughts on this topic. Yeah, so like I was saying, that our grandparents and our parents, for some of them, their marriages were arranged. For some of them, they were matched with the people that they got married to, and yet they made the marriages work. And here we are, we fall in love, we meet somebody, we are head over heels, we can't stop thinking about them, we cannot even think right, and in the next 6 months we're already tired, we want out of the marriage. What really is it? Is it that we are not choosing well? What's the problem? So do we think that maybe our parents should start choosing for us again like their parents did for them? That's one. Another thing is, do you believe in matchmaking, as in like maybe Sister Vera knows Michael, says that, oh, this guy is a nice young man, and then she knows me, I'm also not married, and then she decides to introduce the two of us, I mean, with the aim of getting us to, date and court and eventually get married. As an individual, are you comfortable with that? I want us to explore all those options. Do you have any instances under which that has not worked, or it has backfired or something? I want to hear all of us speak. But first, let me read a scripture quickly before we go on. Give me a minute. Good. Where is it? Okay. Let me just cite an instance. So I'm sure, I mean, all of us, most of us, if not all of us here, are Christians. We know the scripture in Genesis 24, where Abraham asks his servants to go and find a wife for his son Isaac. And the servants went and then did everything he could and then came back. And this was done with the inspiration of God, because the servant had asked God to show him which woman he should take back home to be the wife of his master. So the servant did it, and then Rebecca fell into it, and then he went back with Rebecca. I mean, then she became the wife of Isaac. And I mean, it is amazing how Rebecca didn't protest, and she just willingly went, probably because she also had the agreement in her spirit that this person whom she had never met was the right person for her. It's very interesting. Anyway, so I want to hear you speak. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? What, first of all, as an individual, the first question is, as an individual, would you be open to an arranged marriage, or would you be open to a matchmaking instance? Let me hear you. So I have a few people who are okay. Let me get the people who are not married to speak first. So Andrews, please unmute yourself and let me hear you.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Good evening to everyone, and good
Hi.
afternoon to you too. Some people are in the afternoon, so
Okay, yeah.
it's not.
Oh, who is calling
Yeah, I've
Andrews?
cut the line. Don't worry, it's my big brother.
Okay, okay.
Well, and will I be open? I think that life has a lot of things that it throws at you, and as you go on, I think your ideologies, what you think about life, how you see life changes, and even more so as a Christian. It is molded by what you learn from the word. So, as for me, I'm speaking for myself because that's what I can only do. I think that at some point in time, I didn't mind if somebody maybe linked me up to somebody to see, okay, what might happen. I thought it was okay because I saw it not as a done deal that, oh, once we've linked you, you have to let something happen. It's fine if you're trying to see if there's something that we want to happen. But if it doesn't, it's okay. So I think I'm open to that, but I mean, not anymore because now it's not
Not
possible.
anymore. Why?
Because now it's not possible. No, because now I have somebody that I'm with. So,
Oh, okay. Oh,
but if
okay.
I
Okay.
didn't
Okay.
have,
Okay.
I
Okay.
think I'll
So
be very, very open.
you'd be open to that idea. All right. So you don't have anything against it.
No, I don't have anything against you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Is Mami Fua there? Is Mami Fua available to talk? I'd really like to hear him. Mami Fua, can you speak? And please, I have sent invitations to you guys. Kindly accept my invitation and speak. If my Mifa is not, oh Vera, I was just about to call you. You are not, where are you, Vera? Uh-huh. Please unmute yourself and speak. It's an open discussion, and there's
Oh,
a
okay.
lot to learn.
Okay, Lady Raj.
Yes, sis, we can hear you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So, with the question is there are two different things. There's a difference between arranged marriage and
Yeah,
somebody connecting you to someone.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
totally different.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
I don't agree with the arranged marriage thing. Like by force, they said this is the person you have to marry. No, I don't agree with that.
But you know, in some cultures, that's how it is,
That's their culture.
even
Let
till
them have it.
now.
But it
Yeah.
doesn't mean you can't force anybody on somebody's neck that by force go marry this person. Um, I I like the connecting one, the one that somebody will introduce you to somebody. Um, because even
Yes,
with
so
my
I
marriage,
know you're a master
I
in
was
that.
introduced. Yeah, I mean, with my own marriage, the doctor I was working with introduced me to his cousin, and that's how we got married. So that one it works sometimes, but if you're introduced, it depends on the two people that have been introduced. So it depends on how they work things out. Do they really have time for each other? Do they like each other? Do they have the same goals, ideas? Do all those things come into play? So you could be introduced to someone, but both sides have a part to play to make it work. The fact that they are
Definitely.
introduced does not automatically push them to get married or to settle together or even date. They could be friends, even just friends afterwards. Because I've seen people that they were introduced to even date, but it didn't happen. The lady ended up marrying the guy's brother rather, because the guy felt that, oh, you would
Hey.
rather, yes, you would rather gel with my brother more than myself. So the guy ended up introduced the brother to the girl, and they are married now. So it depends, like the understanding of both parties and the things they want for each other in their lives. The third one is which one? The how marriages don't work now, right?
Yeah.
The,
Now, yes, as compared to even those that we claim were forced on each other.
yes. So you see, I will base everything on God, the fear of God. Lately, a lot of us are Christians, but we don't have the fear of God. That is it. Both sides. I believe
Mm,
that
mm,
we all go to church and everything, but the fear of God is a factor. So if you have the fear of God in you, not just going to church or being a church worker or being a Christian, if you have the fear of God, if let's say I'm married to Abishai and I have the fear of God in me, whatever I will do to Abishai, I will think about it. I will be like, this thing, will God approve of it? You see, but because there is no fear of God, we just do things out of selfish reasons. There is no
mm,
submission anymore. There is
mm,
nothing. Like we are we are Christians, but we conformed with the world. What we see in
mm.
our movies, what we see on social media, and that is what is playing part in marriages not working now. We do a lot of comparisons. But you see, what we fail to understand is that everybody is different.
That's true.
Everybody
That's
is
true.
different. So if I always see that me, I can't marry Mr. Yeboah. Neither can I marry Mr. Williams,
Yeah.
because they will throw me out the next day. I'm telling you, they will throw me out the next day. But you see, maybe Dr. Ado was the one to be with me because he can contain and be with me. So if somebody compares me as a wife to his wife, he will make a lot of mistakes. Okay? Because if you say that, oh, Vera is this or Vera, so you want your wife to be that way, you don't know what happens behind closed doors. So you cannot
Exactly.
also compare. You understand? That's
Exactly.
why I say that the diversity of everybody being different plays a role. And there
Mm,
are also ways that I also come in to compliment him, that he feels that, oh, he will also feel that, oh, Mame is the best person for me because other women will not
mm.
entertain this or will
Yeah.
not tolerate
Yeah.
this. You understand? So it's two totally different. My
Okay.
my husband's brother. I Let me
Mm-hmm.
give a last example. My husband's brother, the
Yeah.
fiancé. I always
Mm-hmm.
say that they should let us switch, because I know the lady will not survive with my husband even for 2 seconds. Do you understand? Because even though I feel I'm crazy, there's somebody more crazier than I am. So I feel that
By
me
all
dear,
means, yeah.
only then one day per ben bit cham. What I say, because she's
Any
crazy. So I mean, everybody's different, and all I'm saying is that it's not about we going to church and being Christians. It's the fear of God. Say, "Adi me de beye me nyonko ni, ana me de beye me boyfriend, ana me girlfriend, ana me yere, ana me kuni. Eye erade fe ana." That's the most important thing. Say, you dream of sa bibia
mm,
ye ni bia no. You be dream of mienu on both parties.
mm.
Emma and you ma be ebe okay. That's my point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow, wow. Thanks so much, sis. But you know, you spoke about being God fearing, the fear of God. And I mean, okay. So for those of us who joined not long ago, we are talking about arranged marriages, matchmaking, as against, our days where we choose who we want. The heart wants what it wants, and then we choose. And we are just comparing it to those days when our parents would choose spouses for them, and in quotes, they would be forced on each other, and yet they stayed in those marriages for long. And here is our case where we have chosen freely, nobody forced us. We decided on our own, this is the person I want to be with, and then we marry, and in the next 6 months we're already tired, we want out of the marriage, and we are trying to see exactly what is the problem here. And Vera just mentioned the fear of God, but Vera, well, I agree. I mean, totally, that it's the fear of God that keeps a marriage. But you know that even in those days, there were a good number of our ancestors. Let me use our grandparents and great parents who didn't really even know the Lord. Vera, are you there?
Yes, anything and not me.
Yeah, who
Are you
didn't really even know
talking
the
about
Lord, and
Raj? We're
yet
talking about
they were
social media.
committed to making. Okay, okay, okay,
Yes,
okay.
I spoke about that. Social media,
Hmm.
anything that is put out there corrupts people as all. Everything that we see, we read, we watch, everything out there corrupts us lately. Everything. So, I mean, somebody will come and post that, oh, my husband got me a car, my husband got me a house. Indirectly or unawares, it is saying something
Mm.
to the subconscious.
Other
So the woman
person, yeah.
is gradually resenting the man that she lives with, and she's not even aware. You see, I always say that when you are in a bus and the music is playing, you might be a Christian, a holy person, is a worldly music, you're not even listening to it and everything. You realize that by the time you get out of the bus, you are
You
singing the
already know
song
how
in
to
your head.
sing it. Yeah,
Yes. So
that's
it's the
true.
gradual things that comes to us. What we see, what we feed on, what we are listening to, everything is making us move outside what originally is supposed to be. And that's the problem we are having now. That's the problem we are having now. So
With that, I really agree. I agree with you totally. I mean, we I saw Abishai put something in the chat box when I spoke about the fear of God, and he said they had the fear of man. And in those days, in those days, people, I mean, um, were, were considerate of, I mean, they thought of what people thought. I mean, I know that, yeah, we shouldn't be too conscious of people and all that, but there was this thing that kept people, conscious of themselves. Like, hey, I mean, if even they didn't fear God, they thought about society, and now we don't care about it at all. But I feel like after fearing God, there's an aspect of you that needs to be. I'm trying to find a very good word to put there. Like, I will say, BB foul. Like, you need to be concerned about what, not that you need to bother yourself about what people think, but you need to be concerned about what people think. You need to be concerned about the effects of your actions on other people. Like, I mean, you get married, your whole family is involved, everything, you have children and other things involved, and I mean, you are just thinking about yourself all through. So I agree with Abishai, like, when it comes to that. I'm seeing Elias Quay says that it goes beyond the fear of God. They had strong cultural values and principles. I mean, Mr. Quay, you are just spot on. These days, the moral decadence is just crazy. Now we don't value culture, we don't value anything. People do as they please and they really cannot be bothered about it. So those are some of the issues that we are facing. Okay, so I want to hear from somebody else. Okay, one lady has spoken, one gentleman. Okay, so can my husband speak? I really want to hear what my husband has to say. Michael.
Yeah, yeah, very good.
Yay! Okay, babe. I really want to hear your thoughts on on this, so we are all
Always try to
ears.
put me on the spot.
Yes, I love it. I love doing that. Thank you.
Okay, so personally, first let me look at what we mean by matchmaking, right? So matchmaking is said to be like the act of matching two or more people together, usually
Okay.
for the purpose of marriage. So
Yeah.
it's done usually for the purpose of marriage, but it's not as if those people are forced into marriage. So with
Mm.
matchmaking, I agree that it can happen.
It's okay.
Uh, yeah, it's okay. It's okay to do, but and as
Enukra
human
mejai
as we
mejai.
are, and as human as we are, once people are match made, as to whether it will culminate in marriage, it's solely dependent on the two people or the individuals involved. Now, in terms of how come old folks used to their marriages used to last than we have in our days. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we all agree that back then it wasn't they weren't like we didn't have this Christian values so much inculcated in them. But
Yeah.
for the purpose of this show, where we talk about the fact that it's a Christian based show, now we would have to go back to the Bible to look at the biblical definition of what marriage entails. So in Genesis 2:24 said, "Therefore shall a
You
man
guys,
leave
my
his
husband is
father
a pastor, all right? So, I mean, allow him to flow. Man of God,
leave
flow.
his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." Now, what I've come to see in our current generation, right, concerning marriage, is that one, in terms of Christian marriages, you now get to find out that we have a lot of Christian marriages getting broken than even the worldly ones. You have two people committed in church and they get married in the next few months. They want to break it up. I think the first thing I'll talk about now is like the respect for the institution of marriage. In that, marriage is an institution which was ordained by God and not by man. So, as Stavi said, the fear of God, your respect for the God you serve will let you honor the institution in which you find yourself.
Mm. Mm.
Secondly, I believe that in terms of back then, our parents were always prepared to fix broken things, whereas in our case, we are prepared to discard broken things.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, in that back then, if our parents had issues, um, they were prepared to sit down and then talk it over and try to fix it, and have respect for the voices, the authorities that speak into their marriage. But here's a case where in our days, I don't know if I would have to say it's pride, but people, even though before they got married, submitted their marriage to authorities to be able to speak into it when there are issues, tend to now want to get rid of the marriage instead of listen to the godly advice they are given to try and fix it. Now, also, I realize that a lot of people these days go into marriages with high expectations. So once they get in there and the expectations are not met, then they are quick to try and jump ship and then just abandon the ship and try to hop on
Mm.
to the next one with those same
Mm.
expectations, hoping they will be met. And then finally, I
So
think I'll talk about.
doesn't mean we shouldn't go into marriage with expectations.
I'm not saying we shouldn't go into marriage with expectations, but maybe my final point would
Okay. All right. Then
help
let's hear you.
in that the final thing is that because a lot of we young people now pretend a lot. So in terms of pretense, now both man and woman are trying to position themselves in a place where they are not. So that then leads each party into having high expectations and going into the marriage.
Same way.
So a guy trying to woo a lady will go all lengths, borrow a friend's car, borrow
Hey,
clothes,
hey,
try to impress, borrow money, try to take the lady out to expensive places. So the lady, in seeing those things, is making a decision based on what she's been shown. Now, in the other way, the lady also might go around, borrow stuff, also come in all expensive, all plush, sitting, driving a car which might not be hers. The guy also sees that and is also thinking that, wow, then she's also from a wealthy home. And now, as we
and yeah,
say, Obama so so
yeah,
yes, so both parties are coming in with some form of forged identity, which makes the people they are trying to get a date or get married to think that he is what he isn't. Then, based on this, the expectations are so high that once they get married and then they get to the house, the lady realizes that this guy cannot even provide me a 3 square meal. Then she feels deceived. Or once the guy also realizes that, oh, at this point maybe I don't have this, can the lady support, and there's nothing coming, he also feels you deceived me. And I think that's it. So that would be like my little contribution. Thank you.
wow. Thank you so much, my darling. I'm grateful. Thank you so much. I mean, those are solid points right there. I want to bring a diversity into this conversation. Could it be? And there are two people that I really want to hear this angle from. Obaya, please, I've sent you an invitation to speak. I really want to hear you, and Josie as well. So, could it be that, in the past, marriage put a lot of undue pressure on the women, and the women were kind of okay? So let me put it in other words. So, is it because now women are more outspoken? They are we now look as if we don't you there, let me not mess things up. You know what? Josie, I want to hear you speak, please. Josie, let me hear you speak. Josie, are you there? Are you busy with the boys? Oh, Obaya, please, I've sent you an invitation. Oh, I really want to hear you girls speak. I'm sending it again. Josie, you're already a speaker. Please speak for me. Okay, so while we wait for Josie, let me hear Mami Efua, have you been able to unmute now? Mami Efua. Oh, okay, Josie, please leave and rejoin. Same for Mami Efua. Please leave and rejoin and let's see how it works. Okay, in the meantime, Favor, can you share your thoughts with us? Good evening, everyone. Once again, we are talking about matchmaking, arranged marriage, tonight on the dialogue with Lady Raj, and we are looking at some of the reasons for failed marriages in our day, although we make the choices ourselves, as compared to our grandparents and great grandparents who were in arranged marriages. They didn't even know each other prior to, the marriage being arranged, and they just go into it and they still made them work. What really is the problem? So that's what we are talking about.
Hello,
Josie, okay, please speak
can you
now.
hear me?
Yes, darling, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hi, it's nice to be on here, and I think this is a really interesting conversation. So,
Thank you,
in
dear.
regards to arranged marriage is lasting longer back then. Yes, there is the Christian point of view, which we're more interested in, I should say, on this platform. But also, I think that back then, like you were saying earlier, I think women had less of a choice. So
Mm.
even if it wasn't working, that was all you had. So you would find a way to make it work,
Mm.
you know. Whereas these days, women sort of have a lot more going for them. So instead of trying to fix it or put more work into it, they're just like, no, this is not for me, I'm going to go. So
Mm.
with that choice also comes the inability to actually put in efforts, because if you know that
Yeah.
if anything, if push gets to shove, I can just up and leave, you have that at the back of your mind and you
Yeah.
may not put as much into it. Somebody told me upfront that she's married, but she's just got one foot out the door because whenever he acts up, she can take care of herself. She's okay, so she would,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
which I think that in as much as you've got choice, in as much as you have something for yourself, is not a very, a very good uh, way to look at it. So yes, I think
Mm-hmm.
that women stayed more because they didn't have a choice, really.
Mm.
Because you would find back then it was a lot more polygamous than what we have now. A
Yeah,
man would
that's
have
true. That's true.
4 or 5
That's
wives,
true.
and
And they
the
all would
wives may
stay
be
anyway.
treated anyhow, but they would still stay because that was all
They
he had.
yes.
So,
Yeah.
and now, making sure say in free one, sir.
You
So
protect it, yeah.
when you had your however that you're feeling, this is all you
Mm.
have, so you would make it work.
Mm. So I feel like then, back then, the options were less, as in
Yes,
for women, on the side of women, we didn't
yes.
have as much women, going to school, furthering their
Mm-hmm.
education, being career driven. Yeah, okay, so I get
Yes,
that point.
yes,
Okay, that's true. That's true. So you feel like maybe exposure
yes.
also plays a role here. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you so
Definitely,
much,
definitely.
Josie. Thank you so much, Josie. Obaya, have you been able to leave? I want to leave and then rejoin, but I keep sending the invitation anyway. All right. So I need more of the men to speak. I'm not seeing many men here. Please continue to send the link to other people. It's not too late to send the link. Send the link to your friends. Viva, I see you, Viva. Viva, I want to hear you speak. Oh. So I'm sending you an invitation to speak. Meanwhile, I have Favor here. Favor, talk to me. After Favor, I want to hear Mr. Williams Abishai. Okay, Favor is also not speaking. So while I wait, I saw something in the chat box that I want to mention. Or she, or it was in my inbox. Okay, so I think Vera mentioned that now people think more about the wedding day than the marriage. So I mean, their concentration is about planning the wedding. They're so busy and planning the big day, and making sure that everything goes well, and they ignore the or they totally forget that they're actually planning a life together and not just that one day. So yeah, I think that that's a very good point. Oh, Favor, you said you are speaking, but we can't hear you. So I suggest that you leave and then rejoin, and maybe that will work for you as well. So Abishai, let's hear you. Abishai,
Hi, Lady Raj.
hi.
It's I'd like to say good evening to your viewers first of all, and it's a pleasure
Good
to
evening, sir.
um there's one thing that I always talk about when it comes to relationship, and that was what Papa Mickey touched on, and he basically spoke my mind about. I mean, my main issue about this generation and the kind of relationship they have is pretense. A lot of them pretend they want to impress. And then when after doing that, they realize that whatever happened in the relationship is what they are taking into the marriage. And then when they find themselves living under one roof, for how long can you pretend? So then the person gets to know the real you.
The
And
real you.
why didn't the person see the real you when you were in a relationship, and then you want the person to see the real you when you are in a marriage? So from the beginning, from the onset, how they start their relationships is on a bad note. So then how can they
Hmm.
maintain it in marriage? So I mean, that has been my observation for a very long time. And then when you compare that to our elderly people, around that time there wasn't so much of technology. All these things come to play. There wasn't
The
so
phones
much
are
of
taking our time.
exposure.
The phones are
Yeah,
taking our time.
exposure. One example right now is my brother was dating this young lady, and
Hmm.
the time he met the young lady, she wasn't up and about. Like she was working somewhere, and then she wasn't exposed to a lot of things. So my brother moved. My brother actually moved in with this lady. She lost her apartment, whatever. And my brother moved in with. She moved in with my brother actually, and then my brother got a job somewhere. Now, when she got the job, exposed her to a lot of things. She began
Hmm.
to change things she didn't used to do. She started doing. So, and then then in my brother's eyes open to the fact that this is what this girl actually wants to do, but because maybe she didn't have
The
the means or the
means to do
exposure
it.
to,
Yeah.
he wasn't doing them. So her true character, and I told him to be happy because he would have found this out after they had gotten
In
married.
marriage, yes. Yes.
So all these things. So that's my little take on this. I mean,
Hmm.
be
Hmm.
honest. Be honest. If you're in a relationship, be honest. If you don't like your partner farting in front of you, say it. Or farting as a kase a bon more yet biom.
Yes. But I mean, I get it too. I mean, the things we
You
take
are
for
going to
granted, eh?
grow. I don't think they understand the
Yeah.
fact that you live together for a lifetime, unless maybe it's a
Yeah.
contract marriage thing they are doing. Because if it's a lifetime, I can't pretend for my whole life. Hey, pretend saying, oh, so I mean, when they think about it for the long haul,
Hmm.
I think they would plan well towards it. I
Hmm.
mean, if you are doing a business and you want to stay in that business for a very long time, you plan
Yeah.
you plan towards it to make sure that it stays for a very long time. Recently, I went for a wedding.
Hmm.
The bishop was preaching, and he themed it, "My marriage, my business," and he related it to how you build a growing business, and it was so relatable. It was so relatable. If we treated our marriages as businesses, there are things that we'll be doing right now that we will not be doing. If you
Hmm.
think this will hurt the marriage, hurt your spouse, you will not do it. So that's just it for me.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Williams. Thank you so much. Okay, so Josie wants to add up something before she goes. So
Hi
okay, Josie,
everyone.
go on. Hi there.
So it's actually about um marriages back then lasting longer, or I think that was so. So I think that, well, from what I was told, really, people or our elders used to ask around for quite a long time before settling on somebody to give to their child or their relative. So
Yeah,
there was
yeah,
a lot more
investigation. Yeah,
research that went into it.
research,
Yeah.
investigation. Yeah.
Whereas these days it just seems to me like our
Hmm.
generation has got an attitude of sort of I know it all. So we sort of just tend to, I can do it by myself, and
Yeah.
back then it's too old fashioned, so everything is sort of quick, just trying to figure it out by themselves, which they may not take as much time to actually get to know the person.
That is so true. That is so true.
So they just jump into it thinking that, without even sometimes really asking the opinion of an elderly person or going through proper counseling, really, because in their head it's too old fashioned, or they just sort
Hmm.
of got it figured out.
Hmm. It's so true. I mean, now people meet each other on social media. They meet on Facebook, Instagram. You don't know the person's background, nothing about the person, no proper investigation. And now, because we feel like we know so much, even if your parents ask you, how well do you know this person? So I know him, I know him, I know him. You don't even allow them to probe into the person's family and background to actually know. You know, people are married to people and they don't even know what they do for a living. It will shock you. People are actually married to people. They call people their wives, their husbands, and they don't know what that person does for a living because they spoke over the phone for 6 months and felt that they knew each other. And so, I mean, yeah, I feel like that's also very important. Mrs. Ado also wants to add something to what Abishai said. So, Vera, please go ahead.
Okay, so thank you. Now what we see most of the time is that, okay, so I will give an example again. I know Mr. Yebo, I'm getting to know him. We are planning to get married. And I'm seeing these things about Mr. Yeboah. In my head, I'm waiting for him to get married to me before I change it. Mr. Yeboah also, on the other hand,
Asen, you know, will change the person.
yes, no, so you tell them that
Wow.
this person is this person is this way, can't you see? And they tell you that, oh, Cheme, warini we are Mrs. Sano, you know? And
Oh
that's
no, but
mostly
Susan
the
Impano.
ladies. Yes. And so they wait.
All the
That's where
best.
Mr. Williams Abishai's pretends come in. They pretend that they are cool with it, with whatever the man is doing. And they are waiting after the marriage. The man, on the other hand, also think that, oh, all these things I do it, and Vera never talks about it or never complains. So it's cool. So she's the perfect person for me to marry because
Exactly
she
what I was
likes it.
going to say.
So
If you don't
after the
say it, they will
marriage,
think you are fine with it.
that's the pretense. So after the marriage, now the woman is complaining about what she never complained about. Now the man is frustrated and saying that my wife has changed. After marriage, she has changed. She has not changed. She was just lying all along. She was just pretending. She was just acting up to just
Hmm.
get the marriage certificate. And afterwards, you cannot change anybody. If you see something you don't like, you say it from the onset. Don't say that, oh, ude jano, me warini viano, bihu, me warini viana, mesesano. There are people who had husbands who were alcoholics or boyfriends who were womanizers and all that, and they were waiting to get the marriage before they talk about it. The man, on the other hand, so my father used to tell me that every man wants the girlfriend they met to stay like that forever. And the women, on the other hand, also want to change the boyfriend they had after the marriage. And that's where conflict starts. That's one major conflict
Hmm.
because before he will go out and come back at 2 a.m. and he will not say anything. After the marriage, he's coming back after 2 a.m. and you're talking. So, which is where then the conflict will start. The misunderstandings now they grow apart. Everybody, the woman is bitter
Hmm.
and resentful. The man is like, who is this person I married? And then the conflict
V,
starts. So
please.
that's all part of it.
Josie said she has Coke for you. She has Coca-Cola for you. You are doing great.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's all about that. And then it's not also the somebody just said that we meet people today and we marry. You see, sometimes I don't want to talk about the church setting, but it's becoming too much. The
Hmm.
church setting is taking away the traditions of what used to help us. So two people meet in
Hmm.
church. Their parents don't even know the other's parents, and they are getting married because the church approves of it. What is that?
Which is totally wrong.
Whereby, yes,
Marriage
that
is
this
conducted at home.
Christianity,
At home.
exactly, this Christianity thing is really becoming something else for us all. Because if you meet somebody in church, there are people who got married, their parents met the man the first day at the wedding day. At the wedding day,
Hey. And they
hey,
allowed them
what
to
are you
marry them.
what are you talking about? At the wedding day, that's when the father met the boy. The father of the lady met the boy or saw him for
Wow.
the first time. They don't know each other's family. They don't know anything. And that is the problem. All those things are
Hmm.
the problems that is biting us now. Thank you.
Thanks, sis. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Okay, so guys, before we continue, I hope those of us who are not married are listening. See, what you see is what you get. The person you are dating now, whatever you are seeing in that person, it is not you getting married to them that will change anything. So if honestly, truly you cannot live with it, please advise yourself. And I'm not saying that, and there are other, on the other side of the coin, there are those of us who see everything as a red flag. Okay, and that one is a different topic altogether. I mean, those of you who flag everything is a red flag. No, that one is different. But I'm talking about serious, maybe character issues that you see in the other person, and you think that if they get married, they are going to change. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm sorry to bust your bubble. They will, if even they will change for the worse. So please, let's not deceive ourselves. Okay. So for those of us who joined no long ago, this is the dialogue with Lady Raj, and tonight we are talking about the reason for a lot more failed marriages in our days than in the days of old. Even though theirs were more, most of them were arranged marriages. How is it that they were able to stay with each other for longer than we are doing now? Okay, so Fortune, I have been waiting for you to be available. So now you're available. Let's hear you. Hello, Fortune. Can you hear me? Fortune. Uh-oh. What's happening? But can you guys hear me?
Hello.
If you can hear me, okay, yeah, I can hear you
I can.
now.
Okay. Okay. So I think I had
Thank
to
you.
mute. Sorry. Good evening,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good evening, Mr. Adote.
Uh, you're calling me like someone does. Anyway. So I've been reading from the comment sections some wonderful inputs, and those of us who are not married, we thank you guys for taking the lead and exposing us to some of these things. And
Yeah, you're
we
welcome,
must
sir.
say, nneɛma fa mu biara, sɛ ɛyɛ mo de o, ɛnyɛ mo de o, we thank God for your lives. We
Yes,
just hope to
so
make something better out of it. In
exactly.
everything, someone has to start. Definitely, there will be somebody after us. Definitely.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. That's true.
looking at the topic that we are discussing, matchmaking, we can look at it from uh, 2 points of view. Match, whether we are having uh, MARCHING, or we are having the one that is more sports, MATCH. If we want to match, definitely it means we know where we are going and where we want to take this whole thing to. And if we are looking at the MATCH, definitely there should be a grounds on which we have to meet. Because if it's sports, like I invest in sports, so if I want to use sports as an example, it means we have to get a place where somebody understands the point that we are coming from. That a field has to be prepared for us. Which field? Which people are our audience? And in the end, what's the outcome? if you put two weaker teams on the field, you can bring all presidents of the world to meet. Definitely, the match is going to be a boring one.
Mm.
So if people want to match you, ask you which audience are these people? Where do they what do they represent? And must we do things just as these people
I
want it,
love the
or are always
direction from
molded to
which you're
be?
coming. I love it.
If yeah, yeah. So I must also understand that though I am being my, can I fit in this whole thing? Does it work for me? If you don't do these things and you subject everything, oh, it's coming from, oh, a reverend minister, it's coming from an MP, oh, it's coming from, oh, a very good business mogul who is a good friend to my of my dad or my mom. And I know a lot of people who have also married for business continuity. They married to strengthen business partnership between families.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And these are examples of what the common ones we see in these telenovelas. They are real stories. It happens. It happens. You have to marry someone from A so that this bond can be, we can keep this thing, we can keep this cycle. Yeah, it happens. If I am going
I
to
thought it was only in
find some,
movies.
it happens. It look good in
Wow.
movie, look good to be true, but it happens. That's when they will tell you that, oh, this gentleman, oh, and if he in the background, I don't think it's going to help and all that. And if we want to dwell on just as it was done in the past, I think uh, systems have somehow changed, and the kind of the generation we find ourselves, it will be difficult to pair people or match people and expecting a union or a marriage out of it. It won't be that easy like it used to. Then you could be told and you have nothing to say. You just have to go. If it works out for you, fine. If it doesn't, you just have to endure. But now we've got taste. We can tell what we want.
Huh.
So in that instance, I think it has to be that way. I also want to put up another part of this matchmaking. It's just like as we choose our colors, our favorite colors. You can choose what you want, but in the end, there are people who like certain colors, but the colors don't actually, sorry to say, don't look good on them.
Very true. Very true.
So it's also possible for you to want something, but you don't have what it takes to keep that thing. So in the other side, it is also good for somebody to help you choose, but the person in the end cannot insist that you choose that particular person as a partner. I don't know if it makes sense too.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, the fact that I'm maybe recommending somebody to you doesn't mean that you should by all means be with the person. You can be friends with the person, get to know them, and if you like what you see, why not? But if you don't like it, you are not under any obligation to be with anyone because somebody said this or that.
So that's the foundation. Then the little attachment I made was, you can also see a trait in a person that attracts you. It could be physically. Someone will be like, oh, I like somebody who's into sports, basketball, built, tall, this feet, this all those things. Or somebody who's got his own job, his own business running, or a gentleman within this age brackets and all that. These are good. But you could also be, sorry to say, a spec that doesn't attract such things. Because in as
Hmm.
much as you are looking for what you want, that fellow is also looking for what they want. So it is also good for you to understand that in as much as I am looking for my match, I should also be the match of what I'm looking for.
Hello.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I believe. I believe these are the things that we have to be looking at. I I
Mm.
I think was it Abishai made a point that people
Mm.
try to take things from the beginning. Oh, they try to be
Yeah.
diplomatic and all that.
Yeah.
And being diplomatic about relationships or dating and all that, I think it's different from being like showing these etiquettes. It's different. People want to make up a certain image, like brand, model.
Hey, I
A
see.
good mark, a good man should look this way, should be this, should be that. That's when we see all these short videos and circulating on social media. Oh, this is what I envisage my marriage to be. But in real life, this is how it's going to be. Oh, I'm from home. He will come and cuddle me. He'll do this. That's it. But it won't be the case every day.
Mm.
Because Ben man is
Yeah.
free, remember, ni ti boom, what you say. Akura bi or any boss, I can phone be a no. So what you say. Ɛna ɔno
I
ne
say I could
sɛ na
be
osi
any
firi
boss.
wate ase wate ase aka biribi akyerɛ no
Yeah.
anyɛ ne de ɛna efie nso ɔnso so na ebi wakɔyɛ boss wate ase oh ebi oh today I
Mm.
prepared your favorite meal then wakotu any chick be oh did I tell you to prepare anything for me then you'll be like ah nti
Mm.
nka wobɛ fie no deɛ na wɔba bɛdi adeɛ bɛkye ansa na
Mm.
n'adwene aba so then you'll be like ah is this the man that I married Charlie bibi na ɛbɔ
Yeah.
afa ne ti mu at an instant but he could be that guy. Probably that's how he is.
It could be.
But Oshia saying is kasa.
Mm.
So this whole thing, it's not a static thing. Once we are human, we should also understand a point that to a point that things will test us whilst we keep
Mm.
matching and dating and we
That's
have a lot
true.
of
That's
tests.
true.
If you are dating or married to somebody who is not
We're still
changing for the
working.
better,
We are still
trust
working.
me,
Yeah.
probably your partner is a robot. Even robots gets to a point that you need to fix certain parts. So
Mm.
nothing that humans have to make an attachment on proves to be static. You
Mm.
just have to move. But
Mm.
we accepting the parts that we need to trim and all that. I think that's what makes this whole relationship things and the matching thing. But
Yeah.
all that I'll conclude at this point is don't let somebody pick a match for you.
Yeah.
You go mess up and blame people for that. Nobody will
Mm.
one pick a match for you for no reason. Know their intent, measure it with your intent. Let your intent be clear. Let it be sound before you jump on that boat. Else,
Thank you.
you won't end up hurting yourself, but you might also hurt someone else. In the end,
Thank you.
if you go about hurting people, know that we see you now and say, so
Okay, thank
so
you. Thank you
thank you
so
for giving
much.
me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you so much, Fortune. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, so this is the dialogue with Lady Rat. Tonight we are talking about the reason for the many failed marriages in our days, and we are still exploring those options. I have my biological father here. I don't know if Daddy will be willing to speak. I would really be grateful. I think he's the oldest person here. He and my mother were married for over 30 years before she went to be with the Lord. I don't know. And he is a marriage counselor. So Daddy, I don't know if you would really want to say one or two things to us. Sending you an invitation to speak. If you can, please accept and speak. I would really love it. But while I wait for Daddy, Favor, can you try again? Just unmute yourself.
Yeah, hello. Please, can you
Yay,
hear
I
me?
can hear you.
Okay. Please pardon my voice. I have a terrible cold. So,
It's okay, dear. I can hear you.
okay. Hi, everyone. Um, thank you for this opportunity. But Emily, I think When it comes
Hey,
to
what
the
did you just call
matchmaking
me?
thing, MD.
You see, the thing I've been telling you. Continue,
Forgive,
continue.
forgive, forgive. I think you already know um my thoughts on this, or like you have an
I
idea what I
know,
feel
I
about.
know, but other people don't know.
Okay, so um, I personally um, well, I used to not be comfortable with the matchmaking thing, even though I know it works with for some people, because I I warm up to people quite slowly, and once I warm up to you, that is it. And I I want to be extremely comfortable around the person I finally make life with, to the extent that I don't want to have the need to impress, because really, how long am I going to want to impress the person? I want to be free, be me as much as possible. The person should know me for who I am. I know the person for who they are. And this starts with me from becoming friends with somebody. And most of the time, it starts with having no thoughts of relationship or dating in mind at all. Like you meet somebody, you start talking, you become friends, and through your conversations, you start getting closer. And or sometimes it could go on for so long, and marriage or relationship may not even be a part of it until it develops into something like that. So that is what I personally relate with and are comfortable with. But then again, I mean, we might never tell. The problem I have with matchmaking is people who do the matchmaking having it at the back of their mind, thinking that, well, I know what is good for you, or I know the other person is a good person. You're also a
Mm,
good person from how I see you. So I feel that
mm.
both of you can make a good couple. And some people go as far as making sure it happens. So I feel
Making
those
sure
who,
how
like, they would want to insist that they feel this is this person is good for you.
my own life,
And
no.
yeah, exactly. They feel that
Mm.
this person is good for you. But you know the person from afar, no matter
Yeah.
how well you know the person, when it comes to marriage, that's level of being together, you will never experience it unlike the spouse of the person. So, and it
Yeah.
is when you guys start talking, like I'm introduced to somebody, it is when you start talking that you even get to know, pick the thoughts of the person on stuff, get to know the
Mm,
person's goals, get to know whether or not where you are going, the person will want to go with you, or the person's vision even
mm,
aligns with where you are going.
mm,
So give those who match people, I feel that they should give them the space to explore, give them the space to get to know each other.
mm-hmm.
And if it is possible, then they go ahead.
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
are trying to put people together and you keep insisting, that is
By
what
fire, by
I
thunder.
feel. So yeah, of course, introduce people that, oh, this is my daughter, this is my son, or this is this. Then leave them explore. You can guide them and all of that, but leave them to explore, get to know each other. Because really, personally, I want to be free, like free around the
Yeah.
person. I can't
Yeah. Yeah.
pretend. No, I would be doing myself a lot of disservice if I need to
Yeah.
behave in a certain way to impress. As for the
To
impression,
impress.
I want it to be out, like it's out.
Mm,
This
mm,
is me. Of course, we all have character traits that one way or the other we need to work on, and sometimes you will need
mm-hmm.
somebody to point it out to you that, oh, can you work on this and all. Sometimes even for you to be able to live with somebody, you would have to do some adjustments just so the person can live with you. All
Yeah.
those ones are there. But basically, my makeup and who I am may not change
Mm.
given how many years. So that is what I want you to know and see. If you are comfortable,
Mm.
we go on. Or if I'm comfortable or okay, or your excesses I can deal with it, you can deal with my excesses and
Yeah.
all of that, then
Yeah.
we move on. But I mean,
Mm.
so my problem is matchmaking in that it may work for some people.
Mhm.
Yeah, it may work for some
But not
people,
everybody.
but not everybody. Let's give people the chance to explore themselves and make a choice whether or not, because really they are the ones going to stay in the marriage, no matter what
Mm.
you think is good for them. Yeah. And the second part, where you whether marriages of old because of matchmaking were doing well. Sometimes the question I ask is, does the length of the marriage um, really shows that it was a working marriage?
Oh no, not necessarily.
Uh-huh.
So
So
the question that I am asking is how come they were able to stay married for longer than we are now? That not necessarily to mean that
the
that
marriage
they
is
stayed
working.
together for long meant yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
feel
That's
that,
another issue altogether.
yeah, yeah. I feel that MD, the dynamics
Hey.
of, I'm sorry. Things have changed. The world has progressed, and our generation, there's a lot of demand on us. I
Hmm.
think that is one of the reasons why these days marriages, the work life balance alone, it is
It's
not
crazy,
easy.
man.
I'm sure back then life was a bit basic for them. Like it was a bit
Hmm.
basic. What gave them fulfillment was basic. People were just okay with having a good family life, children,
Yeah.
they are happy
Yeah.
and all of that. It is no more the same
Yeah.
because now there's so much
We're all
how to
going to
even,
work.
yes, how to even find the balance between work and home, even church, especially a place like our church like this. There's a
Mm.
lot of demand there. Finding the balance alone is enough to create problems in somebody's marriage.
At home. That's so true. That's
Our
so
parents
true.
didn't have to deal with that. Our parents didn't have to deal with that. Most of our parents back then, the woman was not really very involved in working, leaving the home by 6 and come back um, by 8, and now having to find even the dynamics of preparing food, whether food was ready by that. Oh, they didn't have to deal with that because mostly the woman is home, or she's a teacher, she's a nurse, she's doing an occupation that it was so easy for her to be home by 5 and make sure
Yeah.
the home is
Yeah.
well catered for. It is no more the same. So there's so much
Mm.
demand on that on us. Finding the balance and all of that. I mean, so that could also account for why we get tired easily because
Easily.
there's so
Yeah.
much
It's
to do. It's
overwhelming.
so overwhelming. And for our generation, the second thing I think is we see a lot of perfection, but we don't see a lot of weaknesses and challenges.
Mm.
Because guess what? Because of technology, because of
No one
because
washes
of
their dirty linen in public.
exactly, exactly, MD. So on social media, you are seeing the beauty of people's marriages, but you are not seeing the thorns behind, or the weaknesses they have to deal with, or the the challenges they have to deal with and even navigate through. We are not seeing that. So we enter into marriage thinking that it is all rosy and perfection and everything. So once you enter and you are not even relationships, once you enter and you are not seeing it like that, you feel that nah, this is not it. And then you are
This is the
moving on
wrong
to the
person.
next one. It's the wrong
Mm.
person.
Yeah.
So social media is masking a lot of things, even at church. I mean, somebody may have fought so hard with their husband even
Hmm.
before coming to
But
church,
we
but
cannot
they'll
come
come
and
and be
fight in church.
fighting.
Yes,
Exactly. We
because
cannot
we
come
have
and
to
be
keep
fighting
a
on.
strong front. Yeah.
Exactly. So I feel that our mind to our generation, our mind is not strong. Like, we are fickle, and we give up on
Hmm.
things easily. We let go of things easily because we think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
everything should come to us easily.
Hmm.
Perfection. So once we don't see
Hmm.
perfection, we think that this is
It
nothing.
needs.
So
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of
Wow.
demand, and then
Wow.
there's a lot of masking of what is going on. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Favor. Um, Daddy, babe, can you please check on Daddy and find out if he heard like that I wanted him to speak, please? Can you please call Daddy and ask him if he can speak, and if you need to help him to accept the invitation, please do that for me. I really want to hear from the older generation as well before we end. Okay, so before my dad comes, I Mami Ofua, I want to hear you. Why are you not talking? Please unmute yourself and speak. And Obaya, what's going on?
Hello.
Yay, yes, ma'am.
So, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, madam.
So for me, I believe that I hope everyone can hear me.
Loud and clear.
So I believe that whether it's matchmaking, whether it's arranged, whether you went to look for the guy yourself or the lady for yourself, it's all dependent on the two of you. Because
Yeah.
even if it's matchmaking, you still need to know the person for yourself because the two of
Mm-hmm.
you are going to be
Yeah.
in the marriage. If you look for the person, you still need to know yourselves very well. I mean, you might not know everything about the person before the marriage, but then at least very important things to know.
Yeah.
So for me, whether it's arranged or it's you look for it yourself or anyway, however way it comes through prophecies or anything, it's all
I
dependent
saw
on
that. I was going to come to that.
it's all dependent on the two of you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the two of you pray and involve God in your relationship and not allow people to just tell you what to do or people to even if somebody arranged the marriage for you, the person doesn't have the right to tell the two of you what to do or doesn't have
Yeah.
the right to tell you um what to look out or anything. It's just the two of you and then you know what you want. God must be the first person in the relationship. If any other person must come in, it must be your parents or somebody that the two of you have agreed to trust. So for
Mm.
me, I don't mind if somebody arranges marriage for me or the person
Hey.
or the person looks for
Is that your
someone.
final answer?
But I don't
I
need-
I see. Okay.
so I mean,
Mrs.
whoever looks
Ado,
for
please,
it
can
for
you
me,
hear? Mrs. Ado, did you hear this?
if you are looking for someone for me, you know what I want. You
We
definitely
don't know
know.
anything.
So yeah, so for me that's the thing. And
Okay.
for I always hear Raj say to me that make sure that you find somebody that fears God, and I believe that's very important, both for the
Mm.
man and the woman, because for a woman or a man who fears God would really be mindful of whatever they do to you, because they know that whatever that you do to me, you are doing to God. So obviously you need to find somebody that fears God, somebody that loves you genuinely, and somebody that will be there for you through the good and the bad time. I believe that for our
parents, old parents, older generation that had their marriage going on, or let's say they stayed for long. Um, I just think that it's them, and even though it was some of them were arranged, I just feel that the women, especially, were very submissive, and the men too were very understanding, and not all the men,
Hey. Mm.
but some of them. So, and
Mm,
I
mm,
feel that it's also dependent on the two of them, because
mm.
I mean, once it was arranged, you could decide what to do and all that. So, yeah. So we just pray to God to give us godly marriages and successful
Amen.
marriage.
Oh. Amen. 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 Amen.
Thank
Thank you so much. Thank you. So unfortunately, my dad cannot speak. My dad cannot speak, so that's all right. Maybe another time we hear from him. But I see someone I would like to hear from. We should be rounding up very soon, Mr. Elias Quay. If you can speak, I would really be grateful.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good
Wow.
evening.
Good evening, everyone. Um, I must comment. You are doing a very good job.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
I think I'm impressed, and I've followed the messages keenly, and I think you guys are making wild submissions. They are very brilliant, and I
Bless
think
you.
I started with you guys. But let me touch on the matchmaking one. You could see in the olden days, if you could realize, a particular family knows much about their next door neighbor to the extent that they even know a particular disease that they suffer from. Hope you agree with me.
Mm, yeah.
Yes. So they know them inside out. So when they are matched, try to match two people, they tend to do thorough investigation before they do that.
Yeah,
Thorough one
that's
before they do
true.
that. And research shows that in our generation, there are failed marriages more than their days. Why is it so? Is it exposure? Is it lack of respect, lack of commitment? People will say fear of God is good, but many people are in church now. They fear God. They do whatever in church. They are church workers and everything, but they still cheat on their spouses or their beloved and stuff like that. They still fear God, but they still cheat. Why is it that way? I
No, no,
believe
they don't fear God. They only
yes,
go to church. They don't fear God.
yes.
They're just
I
pretending
think
to fear God.
I think there should be values. It should be principled. You should know what you want. You understand? So if you look at the lady and you think the fear of God is enough, you miss it. You miss it. And because my mom told me that when we were growing up, church thing wasn't that common.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't that common. So when the first time she met my dad, a lady who is living next door said, "Oh, this particular woman is very hardworking. This particular man too is also hardworking. Why don't you just patch up and try something?" They met, they talked, and it just worked, and it worked. They married for years.
Wow.
I've seen people who were in church, got married in church. One day, when I find to failed marriages, why most Christian marriages failed based
Mm,
on research.
mm,
Yes, when I get up. Yeah. So me, I believe I wouldn't talk much. You spend my time. I will believe the
mm,
match one has to do with the cultural values and principles as
mm,
against the it just makes that to do with most of the ladies now and guys now. Like I said, with is quite huge. Most are pretending.
mm,
Yes, they couldn't pretend because the next door neighbor knows you inside out. So you can't pretend.
mm.
Yes, he knows you. He knows
They
the
already
family.
know
He knows
you.
the
Yeah,
family of your mother.
yeah.
If the educational background, what your mother does, what your sisters, even those who are abroad, they even know them inside out. So the thing is that you can't even pretend. So if he chooses the next person for, he knows what he's trying to match up with you. But lately, you can't do that. When you see a lady from afar,
Mm,
you get closer. She will tell you she works here. I had a friend who tried to date a lady, says she works with airport company, not knowing she works with ShopRite as a shop attendant. You understand? Yes. So the pretense you got to know through a lady friend who works around that area. So we are near Juma airport today. Be a shop attendant to her. You see. So my friend thought he was dating or trying to flight attendant, blah blah blah. No, he was a shop attendant at ShopRite. So the pretense needs to looked at very very well. So matchmaking, that one it works in the olden days than now, where there's serious exposure to a lot of things in terms of
Hmm.
the young ones coming like that. So this
Hmm.
is my latest submission. Thank you very much. I'm
Well,
grateful.
thank you so much for joining, Mr. Kui. Thank you so much. Please, Mr. Yabua, let's hear you. We're rounding up in the next few minutes. Babe, let's hear you. Oh, my husband. Where did you disappear to? Uh-huh.
Sorry, no, sorry. I had to go off and come back on.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so I want to borrow a few words of my spiritual father, Prophet Bernard,
Borokra.
who says that so matchmaking is an invitation for investigation.
Okay.
Yes. So once you are match made, you both are being invited to try and investigate each other and be sure that that's really what you want. But there's one thing I would also want to add, and I know that can bring up a totally new conversation, which
Then we'll
is
discuss it the next time.
which is which is uh premarital sex.
Bewo.
Now, one thing I can talk about is that once two people start dating and then they introduce the concept of sex, then it blinds them from really seeing what they must look out for. Now, immediately sex is introduced into the picture,
Hmm.
we tend to overlook things that we are supposed to pay attention to, because at the point our judgment is being clouded by the enjoyment that we are enjoying.
The milking without buying the cow, no.
Yes. So I would want to humbly speak to those not yet married and trying to date, that as much as possible we should try and avoid that, because once that part of the equation is introduced, a lot of things become clouded, our judgments become clouded, and we are unable to really look out for the red flags that we
Hmm.
really need to look out for. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yabua. Okay, thank you so much, all of you. I'm so grateful that you joined tonight. I'm sure we've learned a lot, but to end it all, I would like to say that whether you stay married, enjoy your marriage, remain married, it all depends on you as an individual. And like I say, it starts from the inception of your relationship, your dating relationship. The patterns that the patterns that you build in your relationship is what will follow you into your marriage. The things that you allow in your relationship will be allowed in your marriage. So please, like we have said, I mean, in no few words, let's not pretend. Be yourself. I mean, and this goes both ways. Let's be ourselves. Let the person know the real you. Because you cannot pretend forever. You cannot pretend forever. So please, let's be ourselves, and then, let the person know the real you. But at the same time, let there be a balance, as in when I say be yourself, I'm not saying throw tantrums and say this is me, this is me. If there's an attitude problem that you need to work on, you work on it. And I tell some of my friends that one prayer that I prayed consistently before I got married, and even as I'm married now, I'm still praying, is that Lord, if there's anything in me that will not make this marriage work, Lord, take it away from me. If there's anything in my husband that will not make this marriage work, Lord, take it. So please let us, make things easier for ourselves by praying good prayers, by also, how do I say it? Invest in prayer, one, and invest in talking a lot. Another thing is that people get married and they don't really know the person they are married to. They don't talk. Like they are just married. You are just married, you are not talking, no conversation, because when you were dating, whenever you are together, obia on the phone, so you are pressing phone, so there's no real conversation. There are things that need to be discussed. And if you go back to my YouTube channel or back to some of the replays, there's something we've discussed about vital conversations that you need to have before you get married. So please, talk a lot and have good conversations, ask questions, so that you will not be taken by surprise. And so I think I'll end it here. Also, I want to ask of you guys if there are topics that you would like us to discuss, not only about relationships and marriage, about everything, lifestyle, health, whatever that you like us to discuss on this show. I'll humbly ask that if you have my number on WhatsApp, you can send them to me. I'm waiting. Please don't forget. If you don't have my number, you can just send me a DM right here about some of the topics that you want to suggest that we discuss, and then we go from there. My YouTube channel is Lady Rahj, and I would like you to follow, subscribe, what's the name, click on the notification button, comment, like. Thank you so much. God richly bless you. This program is proudly sponsored by Modern Ministry Woman. She's on Instagram as modern.mw. Please follow her for all your flyers, events. If you are a woman in ministry, she will sort you out. My husband, Michael Yeboah, is the executive producer of this show. Thank you so much for your support, babe. I'm really grateful. And thank you all so much for joining. I really, really appreciate it. God bless you all. Bye-bye.